You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the February 28th, 2024 meeting of the LaPorte County Redevelopment Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Usually exactly like this. Good evening. We're going to call the LaPorte County Redevelopment Commission meeting for Wednesday, February 28th at 4 p.m. to order. If everybody please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mary Jane. Oh, introduction to new members. Jen Farley.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Jeff.
We do.
Really?
Do you want to do that right now?
You don't have to grab the oath. Grab the oath. Grab the oath. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Can you repeat after me? I,
I,
Jen Farley,
Jen Farley,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge my duties
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge my duties
as a member of the LaPorte County
as a member of the LaPorte County
Redevelopment Commission
Redevelopment
to
Commission
the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
and according to law.
and according to law.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Welcome.
Thank you.
Roll call, Mary Jane.
Adam Karonka,
Present.
Michael Rosenbaum, Scott Cooley,
Here.
Tom Fath,
Present.
Randy Novak,
Present.
Mark Parkman,
Here.
Rich Merzinski,
They're calling for you, Rich.
Rich Merzinski,
I'm here. There we go. I had to unmute.
Jennifer Farley.
Present.
Mr. President, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Approval of tonight's agenda.
Motion to approve.
Is there any amendments to it first? Yes.
Like to remove D&M excavating pay app 21 until we get final paperwork.
Motion
Motion to approve with amendment.
and a second. All those in favor as amended, say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you. Public comment. Public comment is now open.
Thank you all.
You're really,
It's a thank you, actually. So, Bailey Tombers, 2147 Kennedy Street in Portage, Indiana. It's actually on behalf of my father. He is a truck driver for Warner Enterprises. He travels all over the Midwest, visits lots of truck stops throughout the Midwest, Michigan, the Upper Peninsula, Wisconsin, all the way through Iowa. And he recently stopped at the new Love's Truck Stop here in Michigan City. And he wanted me to express to the commission his heartfelt thanks because as he travels through Northwest Indiana, you really don't have a whole lot of options to stop that are safe, clean, and have somewhere to at least get out of the truck and walk around a little bit. And I told him, I was like, they've been working on this for the better part of a decade, so it's nice to hear that it's so well received by the community. So just
Okay.
a thank you from some of the truck drivers that are in our communities.
thank you. Thank you to your father. Anybody else from the public? Public comment is now closed. Approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second the motion.
Motion and a second. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Communications?
Communications for the month of January, February. We updated the membership list with the school corporation's appointed member Jennifer Farley. Transmitted and welcomed Jennifer Farley with a meeting schedule and membership list. Transmitted D&M's approved retainage release to U.S. Bank. That was the first retainage release that you approved in January. Ryan Miller called to check on the status of his payment of his retainage. We received from RJ Underground an email to the planner and the engineer stating that D&M had unpaid invoices, and that was transmitted to the attorney, and I believe that was resolved. Auditor's office, we requested the treasurer's report and reconciled the bank accounts. Auditor's office to prepare the February 24 automated POs, picked up mail at the auditor's office, sorted same and filed it or distributed it. Delivered January signed POs to the auditor's office, prepared and delivered the February 24th claims legal notice for publication to the Herald Dispatch, distributed the February meeting agenda to the media, and then we got another NIPSCO invoice from building maintenance, but it was transmitted to Mitch because it was for a yard light or a pole light, and it wasn't related to the project. End of communications.
Thank you. Treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report for February, US 421 TIF, account balance after claims presented today, $278,736. US 421 allocation area 2, 0 balance. Kingsbury TIF balance, $94,125. 39 North TIF balance, $101,500. End of treasurer's report.
Thank you. Move on to claims. Tonight for the KIDC, we have a total of $5,438.23. What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve.
Second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Next item is 421-1 TIF. Total claims for $2,940.75.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, we need to delete the D&M payment in that of 427. The final retainage will be split between the balance in the bond issue and then 421. So
Okay.
if the record shows, we're going to remove that payment.
So let's redo this. So in there, the invoices, I'm going to read off the invoices we're going to pay. We're going to pay $2,000 to MCR Partners. We're going to pay $500.74 to Sender and Dalton. And we're going to pay NIPSCO $14.74. Can I get a motion for that?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. Next one is 39 North. We have 3 invoices totaling $1,206.92.
Second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed? Thank you. Moving on to old business. 421 I-94 update, Matt Reardon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. 42994, as was discussed earlier between planning and legal, we're winding down at the end of the project. There's attorney Bergerschmidt is working on the real estate so we can convey that back and make sure that the city of Michigan City has the correct information and the properties to be conveyed to them. We're kind of waiting on the punch list. There's some items that D&M has to complete before we're going to be they're done and paid. We're going to certainly make sure the project is finalized to everyone's satisfaction, including Michigan City Sanitary and Water. That's the update with the project. For the utilities, we have a meeting with the city of Michigan City. It has to do again with 421 and 94 a little bit, but more so about our relationship and activity in the utility arena and the city of Michigan City. Hopefully that we can reach some common ground with regard to what the city would like to do in annex and what their thoughts are, and the financial participation of entities like the LaPorte County Redevelopment Commission or LaPorte County County Council. Frankly, the organization, whether it was Redevelopment Commission or the council, has adequately and fairly funded utility projects that they don't own or control for the purposes of expanding development that has occurred, as you can see. 421 to 94, and I'll catch this on item number 5, and Carl's on the horn to provide some clarification. But moving forward with the project located on 421 to 94, this project is $27 million worth of investment for those buildings. Carl and our bond counsel from Barnes and Thornburg, Phil Facenda, have been working collectively with their counsel at Great Lakes Capital to make sure the project's getting put together, to put their financing in order and make sure the coverage ratios and all those things that we had discussed previously to be done. So I'll hit that at the back end.
Any word on the other expansion over by Love's? Not the money, just the expansion.
No, not as of yet. Mitch, do you have any updates? There's been really nothing coming through the Plan Commission again.
Nothing yet.
Okay. Thank you. Next item is KIP.
KIP TIF, March 1st, the switch will be activated for CSX. Congratulations. It's only been 15 years. Rich, way to go. Got that CSX switch in.
I think it has 17 years, but that's close enough.
It's government work here.
So do we need a big pair of scissors and some,
Big pair of scissors. I think we're going to have a golden spike moment, but and on a serious note, what Carol talked about was in the summer, spring, having a barbecue out there for everybody to come out and get all excited about the trains. And I asked if I could drive it around. He said probably not. I said that's probably a good idea, but yeah, he's going to have an event out there so that everybody can come out there and see it. I mean, it's a big place. And for those of you on the TV there, it's 13,000 acres plus or minus of property that has all kinds of uses in it, but mainly and mostly industrial. And there's preservation areas and so on associated with it. I want to take a minute to thank one of the members for their work on the development side to make sure that this property can remain as marketable as possible, and that's Mark Parkman. And his role not only as a redevelopment commission member, a businessman, a man about town, a man of few and many words from time to time, but also a man determined to see positive growth and development happen. And his role and his participation in the Farm Bureau relative to investments that can occur at Kingsbury. And we're stuck with some challenging issues down at the State House. And I do want to also mention that Senator Bohatchik has been exceedingly helpful in trying to see this through. There's some different thought processes about what capitalism is and isn't, and what property purchases can and can't be. And I'm not going to get into the political diatribes of these things, but I will tell you this, that in my view, any legislative law that removes the opportunity for individuals to sell property and individuals to spend and money and invest, and local leaders such as yourselves, either elected or appointed, to make those decisions for your constituents. When that gets removed, I have a problem. That is not economic development. I think it's the goal and role of the government ought to be to figure out a way, what is the best way to have people invest in your jurisdiction. So Mark Parkman's been working real hard on that. There's been some, again, the labor folks, the farm people. I want to see a project built out there, and like I said, Senator Bohatchik has been very helpful. Hopefully something happens. We're going to know pretty quick. Either we're going to have a continued deliberative discussions in April, or I'm going to have a little different attitude. But anyway, it's what's $4-5 billion worth of potential investment, just amongst us here. Yeah, well, yeah, it was just just happened, So we found out a few things about Kingsbury, and people might not know about it. This property has been zoned industrial since 1956. Wow. So way back, way before farm preservation was cool and people were worried about it, and people talked about global warming and urban sprawl and all those things. Probably shouldn't make light of that. But the leadership in LaPorte County felt strongly enough to preserve farmland by directing industrial development into this area. So you were way, way ahead of the curve. And when I read and hear and listen to legislation, and my experience as an economic development professional for a lot of years doing a lot of projects, there was a question raised about why are people interested in this area? And I remember I'm on PG here, but my guess is because it's zoned industrial and it's by 3 highways and it's got 2 rails going into it. Alternatively, I guess people could just pull up and go knocking on doors of farmers and try and buy their land. I just want this commission to know that through your leadership and direction, that's what we do. We don't send people to go talk to farmers. We don't do that. We tell them we have redevelopment districts. We pick them for a reason. You directed me to draft it and our team to do it. And that's where we tell people to go. So this may be issues elsewhere, and that's not our problem. Anyway, that's done. I'm done. Go ahead.
As we all know, not only is it zoned industrial,
Turn your mic on.
not only is it zoned industrial, but all the infrastructure is already in place out there. Another big thing about it.
Yeah, it's not a farm field. It's a heavy industrial park that happens to allow farming to happen inside of it, along with the other stuff. I mean, who has a super fund, a dirt bike, and farms and train stuff? And you can point to in Indiana. Where do you got that going on? I mean, we're short a circus out there, and I think we got it all going. I mean, there's enough land to do it. But in all seriousness, I know that there's been some people working pretty hard to make sure that investment can happen. It's impactful to the farmers and the farming community and the growers. It'd be impactful to the laborers and the builders. When people talk about $780 million of investment, and half of that's going to go to build a building, and half of that amount goes to wages and so on. $200 million in the pockets of the tradespeople in Northwest Indiana is pretty good economic development in my view.
Absolutely.
So that's
And kudos to you and I know Mark, and we talk a lot, and you guys have really gone above and beyond, and kudos to everybody else that's working on it. So.
And with that being said, and not only impacting this project, but we have other projects. We have another site visit on 13th coming in, a non-affected company, I don't even know what that means anymore, that wants to do food processing operation. The reason they found this site and the reason they go there is it is zoned M2. There is not property of substance anywhere in this state. And I've said this a long time, this is a special location for these projects that are high-tech, labor-intensive manufacturing operations. This is where people look to go. Otherwise, the alternative is you got to ask somebody to have the zoning changed.
Right.
See how fun that is. So nobody wants to have to do that.
Absolutely.
So we have another one coming up on the 13th. They're coming up into town. I think that one's only just for anecdotal purposes, like 400 million. So, but it's 1,000 jobs. So 750 million. Sorry, Bailey. 750 now. We're well beyond the tens of millions. We're into the. How about I just want to get one done.
Is this going to be a site visit, or are you going to have a meeting like the last one?
No,
Just a
site visit. This is their second turn through the location. They did some due diligence. We shared information back and forth. Probably there's some improvements that need to happen at the park relative to infrastructure. That's the discussion we probably need to get into, whether that would be through some bond financing or other means to make sure that park is up to snuff in all forms and fashions: water, sewer, sanitary, storm, roadway. This is, like I said, a special place to do business, and that without urban sprawl, without eating up farms, and we're going to make sure it's the best it can be. We can create the highest value. We can help drive additional job and wages. So that's where we're at with the KIP.
Thank you. 39 North?
39 North is on hold, sir, until we get kind of the final final go through from the city. The question to this body, and then I guess I'll work with Guy on it, is what we do with the $101,500 that's in the account.
Do you have a map as to where the cutoff is? So if we set and you start working on that next,
Like to bump it out.
stretch, yeah, bump it out.
I gotta get that directly from the city. I don't have it off the top of my head, but we had talked about that.
Right. I don't think I've actually,
Seeing where their map
Yeah.
begins and ends, but essentially staying on that 39 corridor going to 20, and then there's stuff up there we could
well,
probably.
since there's already sewer,
Yeah,
the Family Express has their own sewer line out
Right.
there. So,
I'll have to ask Mr. Olympidus if he wants to get in the sewer business up there with us. He
Yeah.
might. He just might. No, it's not.
no,
much.
it's not. I don't
Takes
think.
care of the Family Express.
And if I'm correct, it's owned by Family Express.
It is.
So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah. So I'll have a discussion with Bert about where their boundary is going to start. I think it makes sense to go that way. I mean, why not? I mean, it's all about trying to get revenue, to direct revenue, to generate more revenue.
and there's a big interest in that trailer park around the corner. They've come before us.
There is some interest about that. Any improvements that can happen, like new development that could happen there, could be good too.
Okay.
So yes, we'll research that, and I'll have that information for you at the next meeting after I discuss with Bert, and then Guy and I will try and figure out how the redevelopment commission utilizes the money existing in there.
Just one item. Let's go back to Cappy. The road right of ways.
We're working on it.
That's
We're still progressing on that. That's the Ready Grant ask was that. I'm still working on trying to do that. We have 67,000 in change plus or minus in the Ready Grant that we're going to request to be refocused on. I need surveys is what I really need. I mean, I do. So we'll start at Fifth, and if we can get Fifth and Fourth line, Mary Jane and I are coordinating a meeting with Aben Marsh, our good friendly local surveyor, to get out there, and I just tell Richie Piazza, somebody I work with, hey Richie, we need surveys for these roads. Here's the limits. I need to know ownership so that we can, proceed along how we were going to do it, which is we need to make these easements, or we're not. Well, first of all, technically shouldn't be, but can't allocate money to make roadway improvements on property we don't own or control without a deal or consent or something.
I had somebody Saturday morning at Farm Bureau ask me about.
Were they mad about third line and fifth line and
Well,
some
how come? I think it was how come the county's not maintaining the road. We don't own the road.
Nope.
I said we're trying to get it. So if you could get everybody together, we'd be happy to. I wouldn't say
try,
happy.
but we need to have the backstop. I need the documentation for the ownership in the right of way. In
Definitely.
order to do that, I need a survey. I know there's been surveys done in the past. I'm just gonna get a survey. I'm gonna focus on the roads, nothing else. That's what we need to do for this exercise.
All right, thank you. Moving on to 3594.
I'll know more next week.
Good enough. Number 5, Great Lakes Capital Bond update.
Carl, you want to hop on and run the board through where we're at? I know you're traveling, so you can kind of give your piece, and I can pick up the back end if you need.
Sure. Good afternoon, members of the commission. First of all, I've stopped, so I'm not actually driving.
God, I'm like he's not even looking up.
School bus full of.
Earlier in February, we met with Jeff Smoke of Great Lakes. I believe it was around February 13th. And he walked us through the project and the timing. And from that, we had Barnes and Thornburg put together a timetable to actually start the process to create a new allocation area for their project. We plan to start that probably at your next Redevelopment Commission meeting on March 27th. Will be the declaratory in which we'll amend out of US 421 I-94 allocation area number 1 to carve their parcel out and create a new allocation area for their project. So that'll start in March, and to go through all the process to create the TIF. as well as the approvals needed by the county council for the economic, the tax increment revenue bonds for this project. Will conclude sometime in June.
Yep.
So we've started running some preliminary numbers to see how much TIF can be generated to support this project. And we're working with Matt closely on next steps here. But I believe we'll plan to be back at the commission on March 27th. And I believe Matt has or will be providing you each with a timetable.
Yep.
So I'm happy to go over any questions that you may have, but we're planning to keep moving forward. The one thing they did mention is they're not quite ready to start construction yet on their two buildings. They have to finish getting their financing in place, and they think that will occur maybe by August this summer, where they could maybe start putting a shovel in the ground.
Sounds good, but this time frame for the bond part is still
So,
accurate?
Carl and I talked about it. We want to continue. We don't want to be the reason they don't go forward. We want to get to the point where when they come in and they say, okay, we're ready to close on the bonds, and then they're ready to close on the bonds. So that's why I would recommend we move forward with the declaratory and confirmatory and the EDC processes and get it approved and teed up, ready to go. I would hate to wait and then them say, okay, we're ready, and then we go from August, September, October to August, September, October, November, and then they're not building anything and they wait till next year.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would agree too. Let's go ahead and get it set up so that we're kind of ready for when they're actually going to start their next steps.
And at this point, I just want to remind the commission that these are developer purchase bonds. So unlike the utility bond project we did for the expansion to across 421, which was a government bond back with TIF and the ARP funds, this is developer purchased debt. It's not 100% funded. It is a split. I wanted to say, Carl, what did we come up with? 70-30 split on the
I think it's 80-20.
I don't want to start.
I think.
Well,
But
anyway,
yeah,
it's not
go back and look
100%,
at
but
my
I guess where I'm getting to, it's not 100% funded. There'll be more revenues that come off this property that go back into the Redevelopment Commission for more projects. And then the other would be captured and used to pay debt service. So the percentage that's negotiated in the development agreement that Guy and Carl and the company will work together on, will enumerate all those things and spell it out.
And what's a ballpark on the bond amount?
Carl, what'd we come up with?
I think it's around 3.6 million approximately, but that's subject to further refinement. And we also need to agree on an interest rate.
Yeah.
Basically, I know Matt and I have to double check my notes. And I think Matt has consulted with the commission, that we'd give X percent of the tax increment we'd pledge towards their project. And then they can structure, the principal and interest payments that make sense to them. And then we'll retain a portion of the TIF that we can use for other projects.
Meaning the higher the interest rate they choose to use, the less they're actually going to get paid back. And that's how it would work. There's a fixed amount that would be important for us to the county to get back, I think, is to do other project work there. And right now, be mindful, it's an empty cornfield with nothing in it. So 15% of a $27 million project, or 20%, is a good chunk of money that would go back into the TIF for the next project, and will not interrupt or impact the existing bond debt that's in the district. There'll have to be some affirmation by the existing bondholder, and Carl and Phil and those guys can get into it. But generally speaking, they have to agree to what's happening, and so we'll make sure that all that would be done.
Sounds good. Thank you, Carl.
All right. Thank you. Have a
there
good evening.
Any update on the hotel going in out there? You heard anything?
No, sir.
Is that why the equipment's sitting out there? I wonder.
haven't asked us for help.
I'm good.
I like to see that.
I'm good with that.
The less I know, and you see buildings up, that's probably good stuff that's happening. Real quick before I close this out, we're in process of working on the 90 and 421 new area with Purdue and the tech park and the targeted area for housing to go in there by the university. So Tom Fath has been, he's beating the bush over there with all his neighbors. They're probably sick of talking to him about it. What we're trying to do over there, and he's blowing up their phones and set up meetings. It's like just trying to get them comfortable about, hey, these are some things we're trying to do. It's housing, it's this. So it's good that they haven't, nobody's thrown them out yet or thrown us out yet. So that's good. I don't want to wait, and I'm not going to wait. I guess my recommendation would be to wait for the Ready grant award that'll provide us funding to do kind of more technical underground utility preliminary design. I mean, there's a South Coast. Is it South Coast? Yeah. Yes. South Coast Utilities out there. We'd met with them. I think I told the commission before. We just want to make sure that we're not running around doing plans, putting it on paper, getting everybody all excited about potential without having the utility backup or a financial plan to do it. So they do have the EDUs to be able to take care of it.
Thank you.
Yep.
One other, just under old business,
Yes, sir.
as far as the housing,
Yes.
maybe we need to have a workshop or something on that, try and figure out a ideal spot to do this so we can all kind of be on the same page and give some better direction.
That would be, we talked a little bit about this last year. Like, should we ask people to input and that? And, at this point, I'm a little hesitant to try to do anything on property that's agricultural right now. Honestly, there is some property in adjacent to Purdue that they own that they can decide what they want to do with, which is good. There's some businesses out there at 90 and 421 that are already zoned something different than ag. That's good. There's property on the other side of 421 by 90 that's zoned for light industrial, correct, Rich? Right. So I'm a little hesitant anymore to bother with that. I'll do what you guys direct me to do, but I'm going to try to work within the confines of property that isn't agricultural anymore. For development, I think 90 and 421 is a good option for those reasons. There may be other spots around. I think Mitch brought up when, the city is extending sewer line to service the travel center off of 90. But that property is, guess what, zone ag, so I gotta get it changed. I don't know that's worth the effort unless somebody wants to come here, direct it, the owner of the land, and put that forth in front of the Plan Commission and BZA. I don't think you need to bother with it. I think it's just gonna make it very difficult, and they're fights that as an elected and appointed body you don't need to have.
Yeah, I just want to add in a broader sense, and I brought this up before. We're going to be starting updating our comprehensive plan. And I know I mentioned this board. That's recommendations on growth and development, land use, planning, and zoning. And those recommendations be carried through. So I'm sure the plan's going to open up a lot more opportunities for residential areas in our county.
Yep.
So, this plan takes, a year to 15 months. So I'm not sure the time frames associated with all this, but we're definitely going to open up more opportunities in the county.
And maybe in anticipation of that, we can have a powwow and bring Michigan City, LaPorte, Westville, the ones that have the utilities that we need together and
Have a discussion about it.
discussion.
I know from working with Tom in Westville, he's like, yeah, we're kind of ready to go. And I'm like, that's what I want to hear. With South Coast, they're like, yeah, we're ready to go. So, I think those are good processes to have kind of go through, because it's like I said, it's kind of silly to fight about stuff. I mean,
Right.
It really is
Nope.
at the end of the day.
Agree.
Hey, Mark?
You were going to look up the properties that were zoned R1, if I remember right, or look into that.
Yeah, I didn't know exactly what area we talking exactly about. Purdue? I know it was kind of defined area.
Well, I think for the development that he's talking about, basically anywhere that's in the county that already has an R1 zoning.
I have that.
Yeah, Commissioner, we have the list of R1, we have the platted subdivisions information. That was something that we did, what was that, 3 years ago, 4 years
I
ago?
did that for Tony.
Yeah,
actually.
so kind of garnered that information with the thought process. Can we get enough buildable lots that are ready to go? And, you know, to be able to dish that information to and direct a substantive home builder that can knock out 300 houses in a 4 or 5 year period, that kind of info. So that's the transformational type of housing stuff we're trying to do. And that's why we're like thinking around the Purdue, this area is an opportunity, it's accessible and so on. But again, like business visitation, we're certainly not going to leave behind the existing opportunities that are out there. But the bigger home builders, they're not engaged in development unless it's a pretty substantive amount. And
Like Rolling Prairie right now is ideal with all these businesses coming out there and all these employees they're going to have, and
we would think so.
it'd be great to have some new homes. So
There's a upcoming meeting, in fact.
Yep.
Later this month. New tech in the area in New Carlisle. We're going to be visiting that.
Yeah, they invited Mitch and I horned in on it, and I want to know what they're
A
doing.
couple others are coming as well. But what I've been told is basically put a dot and go out 15 miles, 20 miles, and that's their scope of influence, or where they're gonna eventually see residential development, and they're gonna do a lot of commercial too. You put a whole new city.
Yep.
right.
They were talking Amazon 50 buildings, 200,000 square foot each building times 50. That's the footprint of Amazon. The data center.
No outcry over there.
Doesn't seem to be.
That's not including GM and the battery plant.
I know. Well, somebody said Tesla's out there now with the battery thing. So
Oh yeah, well, I'm sure all that, nothing was on that land. It was just
6,000
I mean, it was
6,000
like a
acres.
miracle.
yeah. All right.
So we're going to investigate our neighbors and capitalize on their good fortune and the fact that at that location they have adequate power.
They were real excited about the sewer project in Saucony Hudson Lake.
Yep.
I will say that. And thus redoing or updating our comprehensive plan. So
You got to pay attention to that.
And the council put in the first 1.5 million. So
Yeah, that was good.
I have a comment.
Yes, sir.
yep, sure.
I have a question, actually. Years ago, under different mayors, there was 1,000 homes condemned in the western part of South Bend, and they were taking them down. And so the question is, have they created an area for housing? I don't know,
the
but
county?
when you're going to this meeting, it'd be very curious to find out something about what that.
Did they like wipe out a block and gonna rebuild it or something?
Oh, yeah,
More than
that's
blocks.
Or
There's a lot of really homes that were just weren't even livable.
It was easy to build. Let's just call it easy to build on property.
Yeah.
From now on, that's what we're going to call it. Easy to build on. But
You need
that's a good point. That if there's a radius that they're looking for,
But and we also in the R1, I'm not sure what the R1 classification.
single family residential.
Okay, but we also have some commercial properties that are sitting dormant, hidden in the county in different areas, and we should.
These are all things that we can look at, definitely.
We need to also, because there are some that aren't too far away within that 15 month, even less.
Not only do you need residential, you need commercial too, because there isn't any commercial to serve that area.
We just need to rezone it EBP, easy build property.
yeah, EVP, man.
Well, I'd have to question that because I believe we have some of that right now that we're having difficulty with.
Yeah, but suddenly we can't. We got yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank
But
you.
we'll again, as part of the update of the comp plan, that's where like this stuff you get into it. Like this is going on here.
Yep.
What's the impact on the edge? What's Michigan City doing up north? What's the impact on the edges? So you incorporate those kind of activities, and then of course the transportation network and the parks and all those things
Great.
that come with it. But
Thank you.
okay,
New business. I guess one other thing on their old business, the council took care of Mitch's pay.
yeah. Thank you. I forgot to thank you for that.
Yeah.
He didn't bring donuts either.
No, he didn't. You think he'd at least thank you notice?
I don't think that was unanimous though, was it?
I don't think.
Yeah, but would we even get any?
Yeah. Any other business?
Yeah, I kind of have something here. So I know D&M was taken off the agenda, but through our discussion, I didn't even mention this to you yet. But so I don't remember we started this process. There was discussion about errors and omissions from the designer at the time, RQAW, and one of the errors and omissions that we never received were an AutoCAD drawing, a digital drawing of the sewer and water. We couldn't get it from them. I don't know. We went back and forth with them, and we put it on the list as an omission. And so one of the requirements were also to get as-built plans when the sewer and water was built and in the ground now. So Ryan took it upon himself to contact Global in Michigan City and generate those AutoCAD drawings and as-builts. And the problem with that is there was never in our spec that the as-builts have to be AutoCAD drawings, and I never told him to hire anybody to do that. Normally, is all you would do, and we had all the drawings, you would trace the as-builts on them, scan them in, and have PDF. And I checked that with Michigan City Sanitary. They said, yeah, that's all you need. So he did submit a bill for me for $11,000 for that side. That's not on. That wasn't on the agenda.
Do we have money that we can get back from not Global, but RQAW? Why were they paid for something they didn't deliver?
RQAW.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was when the plan sheets. Well, it was a progress billing, obviously, but when they handed everything over, there was errors between the plan sheets and some of the quantities, especially. Right. And when this was when the USI was running the inspection, they created a laundry list of stuff that was missing, and that was verified by Miller and our inspector. And this was another one that we never could get the drawings. We got the drawings, but we never got the digital drawings, the AutoCAD drawings from our QAW.
Can you generate a list? And
yeah, we had the list. Yeah,
maybe get it to Guy and.
Yeah. I don't know if it's.
Give me the timing of what years was this agreement?
I have it all. I have to, when we started the project, the design was 2019? 2020, yeah.
So they left the job because they breached, she told them there wasn't a good.
The project was bid, the work product was received, the bid was put out. The deficiencies identified in the design became apparent when the project build started. So under some circumstances, you would seek to remedy that with the designer, say, hey, you missed these things, or you should have done that, and you didn't. So what USI did was put together a laundry list of
I asked him to do that.
The items and the cost, which is where it impacts us. So
and then what did you do at that? What did your lawyer do at that point in time?
The project is not completed yet, so we are to the end, and that discussion.
We did bring that up here, though.
But we have.
But hold on, there's a potential limitations period here.
Oh, there is.
They're no longer engaged. You all knew about this years ago.
Well, I guess some of it we did know, but they haven't fulfilled the terms of their contract.
But that's a breach.
Okay, then there would be in breach of contract.
Okay, well, we need to look at that.
Okay.
And get that.
I agree. We need to look at that to see what remedies there could be. It's just that, there was not a directive previous to.
When did we did bring that up? I forget. It was.
I'd have to go back through the minutes and look. I'd say 6-8 months ago, when some frustration was occurring with the cost increase, and it was directly tied back to some of the change orders that kept coming in. They're like, this is what they missed. This is what we had to do. So it was kind of part of the process.
Because of the deficiencies, it cost considerably more. But
need to work on getting all that.
Okay.
Right. So you'll get,
So we can make a demand and
you guys will make sure Guy gets everything?
He will get everything, and then we can strategize. You know, some communities move forward and do that, and some don't. I mean, in project ends, sometimes it works out.
I think the
I don't know
overall
that-
budget, it didn't increase by too much, though, overall. You know, the bid, I don't know, Mary Jane knows, what was the exact? It wasn't, 20,000.
That's kind of a double-edged sword, though, isn't it? Because the deficiencies were higher, but there was some savings that we would have saved that would have, we would have saved more had the deficiencies not been there.
There
so.
were some change orders for credit, too, that helped. But it was,
We'll have to, as long as you guys authorize, we'll engage in that and figure out what the
Do you
best
need a
way to
motion to
proceed.
authorize that?
I don't think we need a motion, do we?
no, we're not doing anything yet.
Okay,
All right.
we're just gonna investigate.
Anything else?
So just one question for one of the new people, right? So when we bid this project out and we talked, I heard progress payments out there. I'm assuming that we had objective deliverables for each of the progress payments. It wasn't based off of here's a 25% payment because you're 25% of the way through the timeline or something soft like that. We did have hard limits.
Yep.
Okay.
For those,
Maybe a dumb question. I see this.
I don't know, but sometimes you send progress billing, you're like, we're 50% done, we think.
Yeah.
You're 50% done billing, but you're 10% done with the job.
Exactly.
Yeah, like there's an end date that always
cover other jobs.
If you're ready,
Right.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Sounds good.
Second.
Motion to adjourn in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Did we do that the other night?